get started, and then if other people come join us, we'll bring them up to speed. So my name is Alex Wong. Thank you for having me here today. I am a co-founder of My Care Community, and I'll give a little bit of introduction about who we are, why we're here. We're very grateful for having you here. We want to try to see if this is a way for us to share information about different topics related to aging care, and certainly downsizing and decluttering is one of those topics that are important to folks. So a quick introduction about who we are and what we're looking to accomplish today. My Care Community, we founded the company on a basis that, and I went through this with my mom, our co-founders went through the same thing as well. Many of us just don't have a good aging care plan. What I mean by that is we don't think about it, we don't want to think about it, so when things happen, we tend to be very reactive, and if you try to find information on the web, there's not a whole lot of resources out there that's available to you. So recognizing that, we founded My Care Community to be an information resource to share with seniors and their families. Anything from decluttering, downsizing to, we're doing a presentation about getting to assisted living facilities, funeral services, whatever the audience is interested in. We can certainly provide the research and then bring in expert speakers to present on the topic. Our model is to provide you with free vetted resources. So we do the research. We want to make sure that we review the information with experts in the field. And then it costs nothing to the family to take advantage of our resource, or if you have questions about anything related to aging care, you can call us and we'll connect you with the right parties. And like I said, we don't charge you for any of this stuff. We get paid by providers who want to work with us to get information about leads and referrals. And we don't sell your information. The only time when they will contact you is if you want to contact them about something, and that's how we operate. So for today, we're going to present on downsizing and decluttering. And as part of that, I want to spend a little time, give an opportunity for some partners of ours that we want to bring to the presentation. They bring different perspectives to the process, and they're experts in the field. With that, why don't I start in order, and I'll introduce Tim Walsh. Tim, do you want to introduce your company?
Sure, thanks, Alex. My name is Tim Walsh. I live in Arlington. I own a company called Senior Care Authority. We don't specialize in downsizing and decluttering, but we know it's an important thing, and we're happy to sort of sponsor this presentation. Senior Care Authority, what we focus on is helping families move into independent or assisted living communities, help match them with the right community if that is a move they're ready to make. So think of it sort of like a matchmaking service, helping families sort of navigate that process, take into account care needs, budget, and certainly location. And it's actually a no-charge service for families. We're compensated by the communities themselves when we help them match with the residents. So that's a little bit what we do. Like I said, I've known Alex for, over a year now, and we've been partners in certainly a few different things. And I've been here before at the Melrose Council to give a presentation on senior driving safety, probably about 6 months ago. So I reached out to Erica and let her know that we have all this content sponsored by developed by My Care Community. So I thought it would be great to bring this topic here and present it to all you. So Alex did all the work, but we're just helping bring it to you guys. So good to meet everybody.
Well, actually, to get some help in creating the content, like I said, we when there's a piece of topic that. Oh, sorry. I'm getting music. When we do create content, we want to make sure that we are vetting it with experts in the field. And with that, I'd like to introduce two experts in the field. Holly, you want to introduce your company.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Holly Colby. I am the owner of Adaptive Moving Solutions. We are a full-service senior transition company where we help seniors and their families when they are thinking about downsizing and relocating into senior living or perhaps even aging in place. We help them declutter, organize, we help them pack, unpack, we help them set up in their new homes. And then we also work very closely with realtors when we're looking to get a home listed, where we can do the painting and any light carpentry to get the most out of the sale of the home. We do advocate for our clients, so it extends beyond just the transition itself. And we do maintain the relationships. It's very important. We realize that this is a huge transition for a lot of people. So we maintain relationships with our clients once you've moved in and you're settled. So we consider our clients extensions of our family.
Excuse me, what's the company?
Adaptive Moving Solutions.
And we have literature in the back there too by the sink, so certainly feel free to grab any information that's helpful.
Fire alarm.
Joe, you want to introduce
Sure.
Caring Transitions as well?
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. So, thank you, everybody. My name is Joe Abasher, and I'm the owner of Caring Transitions. And what we do is a kind of unique approach. We're a full-service vendor. I'm a certified senior move manager, and that comes from countless of hours of service and clients over the course of years. It's not something that you can just take a test and become one. It takes years and years of developing it to become certified. It's a national association. And I'm also a licensed auctioneer, a licensed real estate broker, and we bring a lot of knowledge to the table when it comes to helping seniors to transition and relocate in life. And we help them with downsizing, organizing. It comes to time to maybe move out of the house, go into an over 55 community, independent living, assisted living, whatever it may be, creating a floor plan, deciding what to take, what not to take, putting that all into perspective, helping the client to figure out what to take, what not to take, helping you to sell valuables, if you do have valuables. I have a great article that's back there of auction items that sell in today's market. Feel free to grab one if they run out. You can always take my card and email me, and I'll gladly share it with you. And then the last part of it is that we offer a full package program to also sell your house, and about 75% of our clients work with us to take advantage of that full service program. We've got hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, and it's a nice concept of what just happened over the course of years. We've been doing this for about 20 years now, and so things just kind of evolve over the course of time, and we're pretty excited about it. But thank you again for inviting us, and I appreciate the time.
So thank you to our partners today. So the point of today's meeting is we wanted to walk you through the topics related to downsizing and decluttering. This is not a sales meeting. The reason why we bring experts to the meeting is in case you have questions about, values of things you own, how to dispose of stuff. They've been in the field for many, many years, and so we welcome their expertise in this presentation. And by the way, this is very much a discussion, so if you would like to ask any question during the process, feel free to interrupt and ask a question. So one of the first things I want to do is really acknowledge how we got here, right? And I'm actually a little older than I look. I've been told it's the Asian gene, so so I actually do have a lot of items in my home as well, and some of them are still in boxes from moves that I gone through, gosh, over 10 years ago. And so over time, we just accumulate things, right? So why do we accumulate them? We buy things because we need them for everyday uses, and they go in our pantry and all the different places we store them. I have a sister who loves sales, She thinks that anything on sale is amazing, not realizing that if you don't use it, it's not really that amazing. I do have a sister where we have closet full of stuff that's never been opened. We do get gifts from other folks, birthdays, weddings. I still have wedding gifts from many years ago that are in their boxes. I hope my kids at some point will open them and say, this is interesting, I'm going to take them. Oh no. Joe, we might need to ask you for selling the stuff at some point. There's also the just-in-case purchases. That same sister who loves sales loves to buy stuff in case there's a storm, in case there's an earthquake. So we do have a lot of provisions for any major emergencies. There's also sentimental items. When you have family, you have photos, you have artwork and other things that kids and grandkids and other folks gifted to you, and we tend to save them over time. The other thing that I run into as well is, for my mother-in-law, we do have a big basement, so our basement is used as storage for my in-laws' items, so we do have some amount of that. We hope that at some point she'll go in and take a look to see what might be useful. Otherwise, again, we'll have to figure out what to do with them once she passes. And the last thing is, there are some folks out there who love to collect items. You collect them because they're interesting, they might be valuable at some point in time. I think I still have Beanie Babies from the 90s. Yes. So, we do buy them and they stay in our home. You may have other examples that you've gone through. And the reason why we're here today is letting go of that stuff is hard. Right? It's hard because we have an emotional attachment to the items that we've acquired over the years. And sometimes we're not just sure how to go about getting rid of stuff as well. So for those, for the difficult moment of letting go of stuff, there are a couple of suggestions I can offer. One is focus on where you're going and not looking back. When we look backwards, we build up a lot of sentimental values around items that we have. And then second, we'll walk through some strategies for how to organize and declutter. The goal is really keep what's valuable to you and just let go of the rest, right? So why this is helpful? If your home has less stuff, it's less cleaning. Anyone's gone through cleaning process will know that less means less. Sometimes when there's too much stuff around, it's also a safety issue. If there's too much items in your home and there's an emergency responders have to be able to get to whoever they need to tend to. So I would say, do focus on the safety aspect of decluttering as well. Life transition support. From a data standpoint, many people like to age in their home. Eventually, some people do like to move into a senior living community. And when when that happens, that's a main reason for downsizing and decluttering. And if you are downsizing or just downsizing to a smaller home, we'd have 2 kids in college. At some point, they've told us we're not living with you, and then our thinking is, gosh, that's a really lot of space to clean up. Downsizing can have some financial benefits as well. Any questions or thoughts so far? Feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. So first thing I would suggest in terms of a downsizing or decluttering project is define what your goals are. Anybody's gone through a move will know that depending on how much stuff you move, the size of the truck or van has to be equivalent to the amount of material you're moving. So question is this a downsizing or decluttering project? Decluttering means you're just removing stuff, right? You're going to stay in where you are. If you're downsizing, you definitely have some very defined parameters you have to work around. The space you're moving into is essentially the size of the box that you can fill in your new space. The other sort of consideration is timeline. Sometimes if you are moving, you have a very definitive deadline to get things done. If you're not moving, then you have a lot more time to plan for your project. Any questions about goals definition? So where to start? Our recommendation is to start from big to small. And the reason for that is, if you are moving to a location, that new location essentially defines how much stuff you can bring with you. And the hardest items to pack or to unpack in a new location are the big furniture items. So recommendation is to start with the big items first and then move to smaller items because of space constraints. Second is to create manageable steps. Sometimes you look at a room, there's so much stuff, where do we start? Our recommendation is to start small. Start with a drawer, move on to a bigger space from that, and then eventually you can get the room completed. Clean and declutter first. What that means is there are sometimes obvious items that you want to throw out, and we'll talk about what those situations may be. But if you can throw out stuff in the beginning, then the organization process, the decluttering process will be a lot easier. And then the last recommendation here is don't add to the pile. So as you're moving stuff out, don't buy stuff and replace the empty space that you just created. Try to keep the space decluttered as much as you can. So sorting, our recommendation is to sort things into 5 buckets. First one is, like I said, the simple things, right? There might be some items that are obvious candidates for throwing out. The second place is, there might be items where you want to give away. I've heard earlier that, one of the strategy is if you have items of value, grandkids, kids, friends and family, sometimes you might get them interested in something that you own, and they may want to take it. And so giving is an easy way to remove items. Donating, there are other items where it's not as much of a giving situation as can I donate something that others can still find use for. Selling, there may be items that you own that actually have value, right? And we'll talk about what they are today and how to think about them. And then when you've gone through the first 4 steps, whatever's left is really what you like to keep. So this is the organization process. Any questions about sorting categories? So what are some items that are good candidates for throwing out? Did I mention that we do have a lot of provisions for what-if scenarios? I do have some oatmeals that are from 5 years ago, and they don't taste good. I tried. So past due food items are good candidates. Expired medications, toiletries that you may have stocked up on and haven't used in a while, clothes that are worn, furniture or household items that are worn out. And then there are other things like old magazines and things like that while they may have been helpful, interesting in the past, if you haven't touched it for a while, usually that's a good sign that you're not going to miss it when you get rid of the items. Joe?
I'll throw one more thing into that too, is that a lot of times things, become on your mind when you hear a presentation like this, and Alex is doing a great job of kind of handling and approaching everything there on the list of discarding, but there's also other items of handling all of the paint that's down in your basement for years and all of the things and how do you discard that? And those things can be taken care of very easily for you. Just wanted to share that with you, and all of the things in the house, because when it's all said and done, if you're moving, you want to clean out your house totally. And if you've had 50, 60 years of things in your home, you've got things that have, you know, stayed there, and, you know, you're gonna touch up that wall, and the paint's 20 years old now, and it's sitting down there in the basement, and all of those things. So it's all good.
Yeah, I do have paint that's sitting in the garage. Sentimental items and documents. These are things that are harder to get rid of. For sentimental items, our recommendation would be to find a budget for how much you want to keep. You know, normally there's you know, if you're moving into a space that's smaller, you can only take so much with you. Even when you're decluttering, think about, you know, what is the size of the space that you want for retaining your sentimental items. So keep that in mind. If you can do that, then it's easier to figure out how much you can give away or get rid of. Documents, you know, I do have drawers full of documents, and our best recommendation for that is when you can, scan it and keep the electronic copy and get rid of the paper copy. If you are scanning it, Google and other services will allow you to store stuff in the cloud. And you can also buy USB sticks and other things to store the information as well. If those are challenging things for you, having grandkids and kids are great because they probably have used technology a lot. Otherwise, there are plenty of resources in the community that can help you with digitizing stuff as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if they have it here in Melrose, but a lot of senior centers have like a tech support, you know, person who, you know, has like, you can schedule a
Yes.
meeting with, so.
No,
You
we
could-
also have SDM, they don't charge, and they give you an hour, you know, appointments.
Yeah.
Appointments, and they're very helpful, they're wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's one way of getting rid of a lot of important documents. And the nice thing about getting rid of important documents is if you digitize them, you can organize them and know what's where and how to quickly find them. I still have tax forms from 10 years ago, and by law, I only need to keep, I think, 7 years of tax forms. I've told my accountant lately, just please send me the PDF file, so I don't need the physical printouts anymore. Donations. What are good candidates for donations? Gently worn clothing are good candidates for that. Goodwill and plenty of donation centers take them. Extra furniture that are in good condition. There are some limits to that. I think they don't take mattresses and other things, but if you have chairs, tables, other things that are, you know, where the extra items in the house, a lot of the donation centers will take them. Duplicate items such as linens, pots and pans, actually those are also very good for giving away to kids and families. You know, I do keep an eye out for nephew and nieces that are getting married or having kids or moving, you know, away from home after college because, you know, extra plates can go to them. And they love getting that because they don't need to buy them. Home decorations, you know, if I have a lot of Christmas decorations, Halloween decorations, and over time, you know, they take up a lot of space as well.
Actually, can I add one
Sure.
thing, Alex? Something else that we've found is suitcases. Suitcases can be donated. We have found these micro-communities where we can get suitcases into the hands of victims of domestic abuse, domestic violence, where they need to leave, and also children in the foster care system. So it's possible within your local community that there are connections that you could donate your suitcases to help those in need.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times, you know, if you ask around, there are plenty of organizations where your donated items are going to be of value to someone else. So keep that in mind. Valuable items. There are certain things that you own that if you want to, you can sell them. So these are some examples. Furniture, generally higher end pieces. If you buy them from a fairly high-end store. So typically not the IKEA stuff, but the IKEA stuff could sell too. There are always uses for those. For anyone who uses Facebook Marketplace, generally you'll find people looking for used furnitures on those sites. Collectibles, stamps, coin collections, any other collectible, there should be value behind them, and you can get some money for that. Arts that are contemporary from known artists always have value. Vintage is coming back. So anything from vinyl records, old cameras, typewriters, things that we may not use before, but there are people collecting them and using them as decorations for their homes. So there's value behind that. Rugs, Asian, Persian rugs, hand-woven rugs, those all have value. Designer clothing and handbags, there's a huge secondary market for those items. And then obviously fine jewelry. There's always places where you can sell them as well. Joe, probably is there anything else you want to add to valuables?
So it's just coming from a perspective of a licensed auctioneer. I've been doing this for a long time. In today's market, the furniture market is very, very tough in order to sell anything. If you've tried to sell anything, then you've already realized it yourself. What does sell is Scandinavian, straight line, mid-century modern furniture. 60s does very, very well in the marketplace. Teak wood, high-end. But if you have a set of furniture, let's just say you've gone to Jordan Furniture and you've got a bedroom set or a dining room set that you spent maybe $15,000 on, $20,000 on, and you've got good use out of it. It's just like buying a car. You've got good use out of it, but the value just isn't there. It's everyday household items. And one other thing that I will throw into it is that antique furniture, the same similar thing. Antique means that something is 100 years old or older. That's all that it means. It doesn't mean that it's valuable. Value comes from the provenance of the item, the rarity of the item, and so then you look at those things, and you may have a farmer's table that is 120 years old. It may be a great piece. It may have some value to it because of the condition of it, but you look at all of those situations and what it brings to the table, because, no pun intended, but when you have a piece of furniture that's 100 years old, we'll use that table. Back then, farmers bartered with the cabinet makers to make their furniture, and so it was an everyday household piece, just like you have a piece that you bought from Jordan Furniture today. So you got to have that mindset of the piece that I have, maybe it's valuable, maybe it's a fine European piece that was imported and it's a high sought after rare piece from Europe, England, but it all comes down to that and looking at it. But everyday items that are antique have little to no value. I'll just share one quick story. I did an auction for this lady, and she was set on selling these couple of pieces that she had. She had this nice vanity, and it had this nice figure eight design to it, and had a granite top, and beautiful piece. But I knew in my heart that it wasn't going to bring much money to the auction. She had jewelry and other things that were selling, and an automobile, and so I put it in for her. And the piece only brought in, I think, $40 or $50. Anyway, she was beside herself. She had this most of her life. The young lady who bought it, who ended up purchasing it, lived out of Boston, and she showed up in this tiny little subcompact car to pick it up. So needless to say, it wasn't going to fit, using a little common sense. that it wasn't privy at that time. And she's trying to get it in, back seat, front seat, couldn't get it in. Finally, she came over and asked my team if we had a saw.
Oh, no.
And she went to saw the legs of this to get it into her car. And so I'm sitting there watching, and I'm laughing, and I'm saying, so I asked her, I said, what are you going to do with this after the fact? She said she's going to repurpose it. So in the meantime, the original owner of that piece stopped in at the pickup, which I asked her not to, and saw her, and she attacked her, and she started yelling at her, "You should be arrested!" And anyways, you know, these things just happen in life. And so I bring this to the table is because the value is in the beholder. And and I share that story with you with empathy and for whatever that you have. And the article that I wrote on items that sell, it's a great piece and just comes from years of experience. So please feel free to take it.
Right. Holly, anything else to add? Or?
Yeah, I was actually going, just to piggyback on what Joe had said, the market really dictates the value of something. So in the auctions that we've done, again, to Joe's point, if people, they have a lot of heart for a piece, I've had it forever, I love this piece, it's so beautiful. However, you know, it's really in the eye of the beholder, right? So if the market thinks it's interesting and they're going to outbid one another, that's fantastic. Knowing that it's going to a good home too is always good to know. Just keep in the back of your mind.
So another thing to keep in mind is, we mentioned before, don't add to the pile. So how do we make sure that we stay organized after we've gone through an exhaustive effort to declutter? Here are some suggestions. One is to use storage containers that are visible, that looks great. They'll help with the keeping things organized going forward. Second, try to keep them in a system that works for you and label them. Third is there are multi-purpose furniture items that you can get where you can make a good use of space in terms of, might be an ottoman that can be seated on with some storage underneath that. So do look for ways to make smart use of your space. And then finally, decluttering habits to adopt on an ongoing basis. Our family have a rule that says you buy something, you need to get rid of something. And that's because at one point in my life, I lived in a 380 square feet apartment in New York City. It wasn't big enough to even store clothes. So, my clothes store system was the dry cleaner down the street, where I had a system, I would pick up things in 20% increments. Knowing that's how I rotate my clothes to use for work. The second thing to consider is always, as you adopt a practice for decluttering, look for things that you haven't used in a while. They're generally candidates for discard or donation or other uses. And then last thing, sometimes these projects can be fairly big. Especially if you have lots of years of materials that you've accumulated. Do look for friends and families for help. Organize a social gathering and have them be part of the process with you, and that might be an opportunity for you to give away some stuff during the process as well. And then finally, we have folks like Holly and Joe who are move planners. When the projects have a strict deadline and it's overwhelming, moving can be very stressful, and the whole downsizing, decluttering process adds to that. So certainly consider the use of move planners when you find yourself in that situation. Special thanks to Tim, Holly, and Joe for their help today. And that's it. That's the presentation. Any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you have feedback for us, we'd love to get feedback on how useful this session is. And we do have additional contents that we can present on. Our job is to bring information to you so you can make an informed buying decision. We don't sell anything to vendors. So, yeah, I'd love to come back and present at the future meeting. Thank you.